Hello SICW wrestling fans and welcome to this week's SICW All-Star Wrestling. I'm here with promoter Herb Simmons. And Herb, have you got a chance to catch your breath?
Oh man, what a special weekend it was. It's still busy, but after a high, the adrenaline is still flowing. I mean, the calls that are still coming in from around the country, and when I say literally from around the country, promoters from around the country calling, texting, and saying, hey, congratulations, you pulled off something that is actually never been done, to have 60 plus wrestling legends, some of the all-time greats there, along with the Hall of Fame, along with the Bill Apter show, and then the icing on the cake, Bob Orton being inducted into that Hall of Fame, and then of course the entire Orton family being there. Absolutely,
and fans, we're talking about none other than FanFest 2 this past weekend, the Aviator Hotel in St. Louis. And Herb, as you mentioned, it started Friday night with the Bill Apter one-man show, and over 100 fans got the VIP experience there and got to see Bill Apter interact with some of the other wrestling legends.
Well, and what a guy Bill is, a longtime friend, and to get up there, him and his co-host, Mac Davis, I can't thank them enough for the job that they've done. It was just phenomenal to put it on, and then the tickets sold out for the small room, and I didn't have one fan walk out of there that wasn't either just thanking us or just really laughing about the stories that Bill told, the variety part of it. He got fans to interact with him, and then he did his favorite thing that he loves to do, and that's singing karaoke, My Way, and things like that.
He started the night by singing. He ended the night by singing. You mentioned he brought fans up there on the stage with them. Interactive games they got to do.
Yeah, one of our great wrestling families, Mayor Hendricks, got up there, and I think he won the contest.
He did. He won the contest.
Yeah, so, and I think that was putting on a singlet. Yeah. So it was just things like that. The interaction that Bill Apter does with his one-man show is just phenomenal. And then the stories, he had Coco Beware in the audience. Medusa. He brought Medusa up on stage. What a lovely lady she was.
Teddy Long.
Oh, yeah, Teddy. Of course, when you put Teddy Long and Bill Apter in the same room and Mac Davis, you heard, it's just like peanut butter and jam. I mean, it's just great. And I told them they ought to get their own show on Broadway.
Yeah, and the way he was able to make them interact with each other. And when he saw somebody else, when he saw Brian Blair in the room, he was able to throw something out there. And just the way he was able to pivot at the moment to take the show wherever it needed to go.
Yeah, and to sit back and watch the fans, they weren't sitting around on their phones. People were taking some video, they were taking pictures, but a lot of times when you have an event like that, people are sitting there and they're texting. They may be texting the person sitting next to them nowadays, you never know. But that's what I think separates the fans at SICW. Because of the old school mentality that we have, they come to see old school wrestling. And Bill Apter goes, as I tell him all the time, and some of the wrestlers say that Tommy Wildfire Rich says, Bill Apter had me on the front of those magazines for a long, long time. Because the internet wasn't even heard of back then, basically, when they were starting.
Yep.
The cameras, was either even before Polaroid, and I think he even held up a film, and nobody there, some people were saying, well, what's that,
Sure. Yeah, all the little props that he had a whole table full of props, and knew where to go, and Mac Davis knew what picture or what video or what music went with where. It was a very well organized.
Yeah, it was well put together, and like I said, the fans that was there were just elated. We had some refreshments for them. They really thought that was pretty good. Abdullah the Butcher came in and joined us, and I think he stayed in that room after everybody went out, and he was entertaining fans when they were coming in, because there's a guy that's got tons and tons of stories. So a special shout out to Miss Malik, Abdullah the Butcher. Butcher, his nephew that was with him, and everybody, all those legends that made the trip in. You said Brian Blair was in there, Coco Beware was in that room, and of course we talked about Medusa and people like that. It was just I'm touched by the friendship that I have with all of you and coming in and helping out. It couldn't have been better.
Absolutely. Well, Herman, let's move into Saturday morning. It started early. The doors didn't open until 10 o'clock, but the legends were moving about early in the morning, getting everything set up and ready. Vendors galore, had a whole hallway full of vendors and podcasts and book authors and collectible dealers, even an authenticator that could go in and look at maybe some old signatures someone had, and through them double doors right into FanFest 2, where you had over 60 legends surrounding that room, and that room stayed full all day long.
Well, and I think starting that day off, as you know, because you were sitting there at the reception area where you were last year helping out, and just to see that hallway filled up full of fans waiting for the stroke of 10 o'clock a.m.
You let them in 10 minutes early.
Well, that's because...
let's not keep a fan waiting.
Well, once I went in and all the legends were in place, so the vendors were in place in the hallway, there's no need to make them wait, and we've done that at the wrestling shows that we have. If you're there waiting and if we're ready to go, I want you inside and I want you enjoying yourself. But just to stand there and as the fans are coming in, and the smile on their faces, and they had their young kids with them, but even the adults were smiling. They were holding different items, and maybe a book they wanted signed or an action figure they wanted signed. It was like Christmas, and they couldn't wait to get in there. And props to you on how we've done it the last 2 years of having their tickets ready for them that purchased online. They walk up, they give you their name, show their identification, boom, here's your envelope. And they're putting their wristbands on, and so I think that went real smooth again this year. And people told me it was smooth. The only I had one guy say, "Hey, can you have somebody here to help put the bands on sometime?" And my lovely daughter-in-law Christy, I seen her doing that a couple times. People, so yeah, to watch the fans come in and they ask, "Oh, is so and so here?" You had a map made up with the locations in the room, where the vendors were, so well organized, and that's been one of the other main comments from the legends and from the fans, that it was a organized event, because a lot of these fans travel all over to these events, and they can all be critics of this, or that this didn't work, or that didn't work, or this should have been different. I haven't heard that. 2 years in a row we haven't heard that. So again, props to everybody that helped. My family members, the staff from the Ace Wrestling Academy, the
Definitely
students.
saw the Ace shirts all over the building.
I can't say enough for you men and women out there that are training at the Ace Wrestling Academy that came and showed up and helped and made sure the fans got their questions answered, and anything they needed, you guys were there to help them. And Nick Reddenauer, he reminded me of that little pinball, that ball in the pinball machines. That guy he was here in the hallway, he was in the ballroom, he was outside, he was doing stuff, making sure the popcorn got popped, making sure the water was ready, plus trying to get the shirts made that was going to do. So I can't say enough about Nick, again, I hope he's getting some rest too.
Yep, it's definitely been a week to unwind and decompress and think about what worked out great and what we can improve on, if by chance there's a FanFest.
Well, we're here to talk about two, nothing else right now.
I read those messages on Facebook. And,
yeah, but I read them and I
delete. There is a demand for a future, but that will come as a future discussion.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what the experience was like for the fan. To get to walk in there and see one of your childhood legends and talk to them, maybe get a photograph, an autograph. It was just and you had all the different decades of wrestlers represented, from guys that wrestled in the 70s and the 60s and all the way to people who've recently retired. You had wrestlers, you had managers, you had referees. there was something for everybody.
Something for everybody. And when you talk about the likes of Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, who kind of co-hosted the entire day, I felt so sorry for him, but that is a working machine also. I mean, you give him that microphone and man, he's out there, and I'm so thankful for Jimmy Hart, good friend, and they did a great job, excellent job. But then as you move down the line, Coco Beware, Sergeant Slaughter, Greg Gagne, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, and as you went around the room, like I said, I got in the room about 3 times throughout the whole day because I was so busy doing other things. But when I did get in there, I mean, the fans were just a buzz about it. They were standing there talking to Abdullah, or then they'd be talking to Wildfire Tommy Rich, or Doug Gilbert, or Dr. D, David Schultz, or Dr. Tom Pritchard. As you said, we had a list of everything for everybody.
We absolutely did. And fans, it was a great night. We thank everybody that made it. Those of you that couldn't make it, we wish you could have joined us. Might be able to join us in the future if there is another event like this. But right now, we're going to take a quick break, hear from one of our sponsors. And when we get back, Herb, we're going to talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame.
Very good.
Get ready for Melee on the Midway. SICW, where wrestling at the chase meets the race. Wrestling, racing, and music. Saturday, June 1st, Worldwide Technology Raceway. For ticket information, go to SICW.org. Melee on the Midway. Featuring WWE legend Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., Attila Khan, Night Train Gary Jackson, and more. Saturday, June 1st, where wrestling, racing, and music come together. Melee on the Midway. Followed by actor-singer Ludacris in concert. Be there!
Wrestling fans, you looking for the best in daily lunch specials and great menu food items? Look no further than Layla's Roadhouse, 440 Falling Springs Road in Cahokia Heights, Illinois. That's right, a family sit-down dining and always great specials. Also has the best pizza in the area. Well, wrestling fans, we're back from that break and here to talk to you about, we had a great FanFest through the day and, kind of in the middle of that was the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And Herb, it was a great night for many great recognitions.
Great night, and I think what we want to talk about here tonight, of course, they were all important, or they wouldn't be in the members of the class of 2024 St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. But when Nick and I was putting this together on the inductions, we went through each and every one of them, and we thought, this is our choice for 2024, and these are the reasons why. And when we were putting them in order, Bob Orton has done so much for the wrestling world, and he still continues to do that to this day. He still actively will go out there and wrestle and give it 110%. So we were going to do his induction first. So I think that's what we want to talk about here tonight.
Absolutely, and the induction was incredible. As you mentioned, you had the entire Orton family there to induct him. We heard words from all of his children, lots of conversations about his wife and how she put up with him. And I think we take a little moment and let the fans see what it was like to relive that moment of the induction of the ace, Cowboy Bob Orton. Yeah,
the only thing I want to clear before we go to that clip is that, there were some fans that were, we didn't know Randy Orton was going to be there, and, it should have been announced. And, as I told those people, I wasn't going to do anything to jeopardize anything of Randy's career. Mm-hmm. He's had a great career. I've been with him ever since he first started, basically over at South Broadway Athletic Club when he had his first match there. So we announced that the entire Orton family was going to be there. And, you know, it was pretty plain and simple. And so, I mean, I'm sorry that we couldn't, yeah, I'd love to have been able to put a big picture of Randy and his dad out there and say, hey, come and watch this. Or, you know, his brother Nate, who just, and you're going to see,
Stole the show.
Basically stole,
But
yeah.
you had the respect to give Cowboy Bob Orton
Yes.
and his family of what was deserved. They wanted to make sure that night was about him.
And that's what Randy said throughout my numerous conversations with him. You know, I don't want it about me, I want it about Dad. You know, his wife, his daughter Becky, Nathan. He flew in that morning from New York to be there, and I wasn't going to go against their wishes. So for the fans, a couple of the fans that did it mentioned that. That's the reason why. And I think it was the Bob Orton Jr. night, and you're going to see that right here.
Let's take a look.
We started off with Bob Orton Sr., one of the greats back in the day. And then we took a look at Barry. And then we looked at Bob and Randy. And then Randy. What do you think about that?
I've always said it's hard to kill a memory. Am I right or wrong? I'm not very young. We did a lot of matches together with some of my guys like the Hart Foundation and Honky Tonk Man. And Barry was awesome. And of course, I was on the first WrestleMania, so was Cowboy Bob over here. So, like I said, it's hard to kill a memory. It was a great time, and just looking at that footage was phenomenal.
Well, and that's why we're here tonight, because it is great. It's history in the making, and I'm here tonight to pay tribute to that man that we just saw, and helping us do so tonight. I'd like to bring to the ring at this time some members of his family, starting off with the one and only, the legend himself, Randy Orton. Is his lovely sister, Becky. Randy said the first time in the ring. And of course, one of the other members of the family, somebody that I went and listened to a couple times with Mom and Dad. I'm talking about their brother, Nate. That's how it is. Now, what do you think about that, Jimmy?
I thought he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good.
Good.
Does he go to Cowboy Bob's school?
Randy, I'm going to turn this over to you because there's nobody I know that can do justice to Bob Orton Jr. than you three. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. So watching that video was very cool, and I noticed everybody had a reaction to my father when he was selling certain things in the ring. It made you feel a certain way, and that is just one of the things that he did, dare I say, better than anybody else. The people at the kids, the students at the Ace Wrestling Academy are very fortunate to have him as their mentor, because they're learning shit like that. That's where I learned that kind of stuff, and I owe everything, any success I've had in professional wrestling, I owe it to you, Bob. There's a lot of guys, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, guys like that had to find a way into the business on their own. And they didn't have a father and a grandfather and an uncle in the business. And my foot was in the door before I even knew I wanted to become a professional wrestler. So I had that opportunity because of all the hard work that you put in, all the thousands and thousands of miles driving up and down the road. St. Louis is a wrestling town. And it's now, it was especially a wrestling town back in the day. It was the heart and soul of the NWA. Anybody that was anybody. Once you came through St. Louis, you were on your way to making it. Is there like a place I need to stand for this guy? Once you came through St. Louis, you knew you were on your way to making a name for yourself in this business. Chase Park Plaza, wrestling at the Chase. Chase Park Plaza, other than Madison Square Garden, is probably the most famous wrestling venue in the country. And my father didn't really work at Chase Park Plaza all that much, but my grandfather did. He was actually featured in the very first televised episode of Wrestling at the Chase in 1959, May of 1959. Yeah, so the Orton name goes way, way back. It starts with my grandfather, my uncle, and of course, my father, who, along with my mom, can't leave you out. You were there the whole time, man. You were the glue. But they moved 20 times on the dot before I was born, all over the country, from town to town, territory to territory. Finally, had a little baby named Randall, with one L, actually, thanks man. In Knoxville, Tennessee, I was born, and I think we lived in a couple other places, Kentucky, Connecticut, eventually settled in St. Louis in about '83. And from there, my father started with the WWF and was a part of the very first WrestleMania, as we all just saw, and as most of you probably already know. And one of my favorite memories from my career is performing in my very first WrestleMania, WrestleMania 20, at Madison Square Garden. And the best part about that night, what made it a memorable moment for me, probably one of the top, if not the top memories for me, was the fact that my father was there and he got to watch as I was in the ring with the likes of Ric Flair, Mick Foley, and The Rock, and Batista, and it was just, looking back, you know, for him to think at the very first WrestleMania, to not have an idea of how this thing would end up the following year, the year after that, 20 years later, now 40 years later, like he was involved in the beginning of something that would take the world by storm and would be about as mainstream as it gets. He paved the way for guys like me, the kids, the student that he teaches twice a week at the Ace Wrestling Academy. He paved the way for all the guys in the back at my work, whether it's AEW, WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, Japan. Men like him paved the way. But that's not all he did. He wasn't just a professional wrestler. Back then, the money earning potential wasn't like it is now. I think we all know that. And he busted his ass for every cent that he made. And what really impresses me about my father is the sacrifices he made to make sure that we had food on the table. Because even though his love was professional wrestling, he tried his hand at other things too. He bounced at a bar over in Alton, Illinois for a little while. I remember seeing him come home, and I'm probably 10, 11, 12 years old. He had to wear a white shirt. I'll never forget on several occasions him coming home just covered in blood. And you know, one of those famous lines like, "Don't worry, kid, it's not my blood." Yeah. My dad's the toughest guy I've ever known. That, without a doubt, the toughest dude I've ever known. He worked construction. He went in and owned a gym with a fella and kind of got screwed on the deal and just like didn't matter. Picked up the bootstraps and he went and he tried his hand at truck driving. Drove school kids to school, drove buses. He ended up selling cars, and this isn't a knock at all. This shows you what kind of man he is. He couldn't do what he loved, but he did what he had to do because he loved his family more than anything else. That brings us to where we are today. We're honoring him. Dad, you're already in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I'm honored that, just like Grandpa, you can be a part of the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. sister, everybody. She busts her ass too as a nurse. She's out there helping everybody when they need it the most. Ladies and gentlemen, my sister, Becky.
So no, I just wanted to mention how Randy said how my dad really trusted his butt when we were young. He also made a lot of time for me just as an athlete, and I love that he was always there for me. He'd go outside with me play basketball, let me, and he'd, just showed a lot of interest in my sports and always came to all my basketball games, softball games, and everything. Now, with that said, he was a total hard ass growing up, extremely strict. But now with my 3 kids, he's the biggest teddy bear grandpa. So yes, he's a tough SOB, but he's got a heart of gold, and I love him so much. And my big brother took after you, and I took after my mom. That's all I have, so I'm going to pass it on to Nathan.
Hi. Hello. Keep it going for my lovely sister, Becky. And my lovely brother, Randy. It was fun getting in the ring for you all. I almost died. And just thank you very much. Just so everyone knows, I was not adopted. I was born 8 years after Randy, and in that time, the quality of sperm greatly decreased. Thank you. But I took after Dad too. You see, Randy became a wrestler, but I totaled several cars. We had to swerve out of the way of those deer, didn't we? No, but I always knew Dad was tough because he would swim the entire length of our neighborhood pool in just one breath, back and forth like 3 times. Then he'd stand up out of the water and exhale his cigarette smoke. I was like, that's my dad. Then he got out of the water in his little wrestling tights. That's my dad. It was cool growing up having a dad, where I could be like, my dad could beat up your dad and we could look pretty good. But I always knew wrestling was real ever since my first spanking. You couldn't even sit down afterwards. Because all the chairs were broken. I used to get beat up sometimes in school. I got off the bus one time, I got beat up by my bully, and I came home and told my dad. And the next day when I got off the bus with my bully, my dad's sitting there in the front yard watching us to make sure I sold it right, You guys are a good crowd, thanks. But I wrestled Little League for a while, and my dad, he was like, don't tell him. He's like, don't tell him. I can't do his voice. Don't tell Randy. Yeah, it's terrible. He's like, don't tell Randy, but you're actually better than him. And he was just trying to protect my feelings, because now that I think back, he was like, you're so good at wrestling, you don't even need to do it anymore. You should quit. You're great. But here's the thing, it was good because I don't have wrestling in me. It's not what I wanted to do with my life, and it has to be what you're passionate about to do it. I see it in my brother, what he's put his body through, my dad, getting out of the chair, the fucking wrestling match he has with the recliner. Stand up. These guys, your heart, your soul, your blood, your sweat, your tears, most of all your body. And I just want to say, like, Dad, we were really proud of you and we love you. And why don't you get your ass up here and accept your award?
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, this is a legend. Right here. Junior. And let's don't forget the entire Orton family standing here in the front row. We thank you for allowing us to have him entertain us all these years. Nick, where are you at? Right here. Here you go. Why don't you come on up here? Bob, I tell you, all serious now, I love you. You know that. You got a great family. And what I really like about it is every time I call you and tell you I got a trip for you, you'll say, I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. When are we going? So this is the class of 2024, and we are so proud to have you in the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And taking a part in there with Grandpa, and we're really honored.
That was fantastic, all three of you. And everybody in here tonight. I really appreciate you coming.
We love you, Bob.
This means a lot to me. So thank you very much. I don't have a whole lot to say, never did.
Something tonight that if by God there is a FanFest 3, I just found us an act. That's Nathan. How many want to see Nathan come back here? That's the show on its own. What do you think, Jimmy Hart? It's a home run, baby. Yeah, home run. Do we have another presentation for you here?
St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame jersey.
Got Orton number 24 at the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Thank you, sir. I hope it fits. If not, get it back to us and Nick will get you another one. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, right here, once again, the Orton family. Give it up for it.
Well, fans, there you have it. What a great induction. A man so deserving, a name so connected to St. Louis wrestling, and the fact that he got to have his son Randy, his daughter Becky, his son Nathan, all there. And then in the audience, he had his wife and all of his children, grandchildren, in-laws. I mean, they were there to share in that special night.
Well, and again, it was great, and if you look at that, and there's pictures out all over the social media on it. I mean, to this day, they're still blowing up this whole FanFest, and there are pictures of Bob just sitting there. There's some out there where he actually teared up, and because when Randy was talking, I mean, and then when we were playing the videos of his Bob's dad, Cowboy Bob Orton Sr., some old black and white footage that we had, and then we had footage of him, his late brother Barry, in action, and then of course him and Randy, and it was very emotional for the family. And then when Randy started talking, as you saw there, he led off and kind of walked through what it was like being the son of the ace cowboy Bob Orton Jr. and how it wasn't all good, how his dad was a hard worker, busted his butt to provide for the family, and that's all true. And then, of course, Becky got up there and just told the stories of what her childhood was like growing up with Bob. And then, of course, totally surprised and shocked when I introduced Nate, and he hopped up on the ring apron and does that flip over.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching didn't know, you should know now. He is a stand-up comedian, and he stole it. And what I loved about listening to him there, he's telling a few stories, and then after he gets through with a few of that, he looks down and tells Bob, he says, "Now with all that, get your ass up here in the ring and get this award." And it was just it was great. I couldn't watch that clip over and over of the entire induction, so I'm really happy that they were happy.
Absolutely. Well, fans, just a sneak peek of what happened at the Hall of Fame ceremony. We're going to take another quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little wrestling. We're going to watch a little wrestling. We're going to talk about the Bruiser Brody Battle Royal. We'll be right back with you. Wrestling fans, there's nothing better than barbecue and wrestling. When you're hungry, stop by Mr. Barbecue with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and Waterloo, Illinois. Great barbecue, cold beverages, and SICW wrestling. Herb, we're back, and there was tons of great matches that night, and over the next several weeks, we're going to talk about a lot of them. We're going to see some of them, but tonight we're going to look at the capstone of the night. The Bruiser Brody Battle Royal that you put on every year in honor of your late friend Bruiser Brody, Larry Matisic, and Tony Costa.
Well, and we can't lose sight of the fact that that's what this annual event was founded on, was the Bruiser Brody Memorial. And Barbara Goodish who was in the house, always in the house with us when we have the Bruiser Brody Memorial. So grateful, lady that anytime I call just says, yes, when do you need me there? When do you need me to do this podcast? So she really, I think she did about 12 podcasts over the last month and a half to promote this thing. So I really appreciate that. And to all the podcast individuals out there that opened up their platform to help with this, well, I appreciate that. But yes, the Bruiser Brody Battle Royal, as you said, there were all other great matches there. But that Battle Royal centered on what this was, along with celebrating the 65th year of wrestling at the Chase, the memories of that. So it all kind of come together, tied together, and man, I'm telling you, even though I was running around there busy as far as getting things done, and I think I told you and my son Jason, who was just instrumental. I couldn't have done it without him being tied to my hip there, but I said I want to be in there when that Battle Royal takes place. So I really think out of the whole night, I only got to see the 2 matches, and the Battle Royal was the last match of the night. But as usual, Barbara being there at ringside because she presents the winner of the trophy. And I think we'll take a look right now and see what happened again this year.
Let's take a look. person or the group you want to give this to. They're the winner.
My goodness, but it is the winner, so I guess I have to give him the cup. And I don't like it though. I don't like it.
We don't like it either, but he's the rightful winner. We can't deny him that. Well, fans, there you have it. Might not be the outcome that everyone wanted it to be, but it's the outcome we had.
Well, and I talked to Barbara, in fact, when that match ended the way it did, and I seen Barbara get up to go up to, she was reluctant to want to do that because of the way it ended, who ended it. Stephen E., for those of you who follow us all the time, is a very determined individual. He is a very deranged individual. I know I've had to deal with him now for a couple of years, and he doesn't seem like he's going to go away. I just think that Barbara was kind of reluctant to want to go up and present the trophy to Attila Khan, who is an individual who takes no prisoners. You see there, for those of you who follow seeing him, it's blood, sweat, tears when it comes to him, and he don't care if it's his or somebody else's. But I'll be honest with you, I was afraid to have her go up in the ring to do it, but she said I got to.
And he was not a very gracious recipient either.
No, and very disrespectful. And I'm going to tell you, for those that did not know the two gentlemen, I'm sure a lot of you there did, because a lot of them come up and told me, and thank goodness that Ron Powers, a former SICW champion, and Danny Boy Hawkins, the first SICW champion, who was there all day long at the FanFest and stayed for the matches. I'm so thankful they were there, because on that clip you saw, when things got a little rough in there for Barbara, they wasted no time of making their appearance.
And Ron Powers and Attila Khan seemed to leave some unfinished business there in the ring.
Well, Ron and them have been down the road on the other side of that ring from one another over the years. And Ron is retired. Here a couple of months ago, I asked him to come by and for some TV tapings, just to kind of sit in, and I wanted him to kind of critique what we've been doing, because he has been with us so long at SICW. Danny Boy, as you know, I kind of named him my referee enforcer, troubleshooter, because he's those guys are legends, right? Also, that's why they were at the FanFest, because they've traveled with the Bruiser Brodies, the Abdullah the Butchers, the Nard the Barbarians, and they were out there on the road with these guys, traveling all over to Japan, Puerto Rico. They made trips back and forth to Chicago, Milwaukee, you name it. And but they both retired, and of course, like I said, Danny Boy started coming back, showing up. His family, his lovely family, his daughters have grown up and kind of, oh, Dad, we're going to go here. We don't want to go to the matches. So Danny says, well, good, then I can start going maybe and seeing some of the shows. And of course, I reached that one night. You remember, I needed a referee when our referees all got eliminated. Our referees all got taken out, and he was there, and I went out scurrying. Hey, Danny hasn't left yet, and he was sitting over with some fans that he had known, and so we pulled him that night. And over the course of a couple of months there, I just asked him. I said, if you're around, I could use somebody that can be the enforcer of these referees. And he's been in some matches where he's called it down the middle. He hasn't had to, when you don't have the likes of the Attila Khans or the Peyton Ayers or the Stephen E's. So, but again, thank goodness that Ron Powers and Danny Boy was there Saturday night and was able to go to the aid of Barbara Goodish. And you're right, Ron and Attila got nose to nose there for a minute, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this is going to break down. And but Ron is a professional, and he just says, hey, I want to be the fan. I just want to be there. So I'm so thankful. And Danny Boy of all, and the few times that Ron was some of the TV tapings, they're noticing what Stephen E's trying to do. He's made it clear. He's presented a contract. He's wanting to buy SICW. We'll see what happens down the road with all of that.
Definitely a lot more to come in the future, but Herb, we're out of time. It's been a great night seeing some of these matches, seeing that Hall of Fame induction. There's definitely plenty more of that to come, but how do the fans find out more? Where do they join us?
They join us each and every night.
Each and every Sunday night.
Well, every day I tell them something about
it. That is true. You better pay attention to Herb. You never know when he's going to announce the next big match. We do have one big thing coming up. You saw a commercial earlier. Don't want to get out here tonight without mentioning Melee on the Midway.
We are going to be June 1st. If you haven't got your tickets for the NASCAR race, we are so honored that Worldwide Raceway Technologies has teamed up, asked us to team up with them. We've been promoting that. It's just not wrestling and racing. It's concerts.
Oh, there's concerts.
Who's in concert?
So at the end of the wrestling on Saturday night, you're followed by Ludacris.
Yeah. Come on
Your favorite artist.
Yeah. I might get up there with him. We're going to be on the same stage.
So fans, join us here each and every Sunday night.
The only other thing, July 6th, and I know we'll be talking about that as we're coming up, but we're going to move to a temporary venue.
Correct.
At the Fireman's Hall on Collinsville Road. The fairgrounds in Belleville, Illinois are home. I ran shows there since back in the late 70s, and it's having a remake done to it. And so they're going to be done.
Short months will be gone?
2 or 3 months, we're going to be over at the Fireman's Hall in Collinsville, Illinois, but you're going to be hearing a lot more about that. But our first show going in there will be Saturday night, July 6th.
Absolutely. So fans, join us here each and every Sunday night at 8 p.m. to find the latest and greatest about SICW All-Star Wrestling. And follow Herb Simmons on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, give us a share. Help us make sure we can continue to bring you all this great information. And we will see you next Sunday night at 8 p.m.
Good night.